Αγαπητοί συναδέλφοι και αγαπητοί συνάδελφοι, σας καλωσορίζω στην 14η κατά σειρά ΤηλεΓΕΟΤΟΠΟΣυνάντησή μας. Ονομάζομαι Αθανάσιος Δήμου και είμαι ο πρόεδρος του Πανελληνίου Συλλόγου Πτυχιούχων Μηχανικών, Γεωπληροφορικής και Τοπογραφίας και σήμερα θα έχω το ρόλο και του συντονιστή. Ο Σύλλογος μας πραγματοποιεί από τις αρχές του έτους webinars, τις λεγόμενες ΤηλεΓΕΟΤΟΠΟΣυναντήσεις, με παρουσιάσεις ομιλητών που άπτονται της επιστήμης της γεωπληροφορικής και των κλάδων της. Οι ομιλίες αφορούν κυρίως εκπαιδευτικά, ερευνητικά και επαγγελματικά θέματα. Θα ήθελα να ευχαριστήσω τα μέλη του Συλλόγου μας αρχικά και όλους τους συναδέλφους των υπολείπων κλάδων που βρίσκονται παρόν μαζί μας και έχουμε ξεπεράσει για ακόμη μια φορά το όριο στις συμμετοχές και δυστυχώς λόγω περιορισμού της πλατφόρμας δεν είναι δυνατόν να συνδεθούν όλοι και ζητούμε την κατανόησή σας γι' αυτό. Παρ' όλα αυτά, θα έχετε τη δυνατότητα να παρακολουθήσετε την ομιλία βιντεοσκοπημένη στο κανάλι του Συλλόγου στο YouTube. Πριν δώσω το λόγο στον απόψινό ομιλητή, θα ήθελα να αναφέρω πως το θέμα της 14ης ανοιχτής τηλεδιάσκεψης webinar είναι QField and QFieldCloud because data is outside. Ο ομιλητής μας είναι ο Μάρκο Μπερνασότσι. Είναι ο πρόεδρος της QGIS.org και ο CEO της OPENGIS.ch. So I will try in English now. Dear colleagues, I would like to welcome you all to our 14th in a row ΤηλεΓΕΟΤΟΠΟ conference. My name is Athanasios Dήμου and I am the president of the Pan-Hellenic Society of the Graduated Geoinformatics and Survey Engineers. And today I'm taking charge of the role of the coordinator of the conference. Our society is holding webinars from the beginning of 2020 called as ΤηλεΓΕΟΤΟΠΟ conferences. In these webinars, the speeches are occupied by the science of geoinformatics and its branches. The issues that concern these meetings are mostly educational, professional, and research. I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart the members of the society, as well as the colleges from all over the branches, not only from the engineering one, but overall those who are taking part at this time. We have once again overtook the limit of the participants, and unfortunately, due to the restriction of the Zoom platform, it is not possible for some of you to be connected. We apologize for this, and we are asking for your understanding. Nevertheless, you will have the opportunity to watch the speech videotaped in the YouTube channel of our society. Before I give the button to the main speaker, I would like to mention that the subject, the theme, the title of the 14th ΤηλεΓΕΟΤΟΠΟ conference is QField and QFieldCloud because data is outside. Our today's speaker is Marco Bernasozzi, and I want to read a few things about Marco. He is an open source advocate, consultant, teacher, and developer. His background is in geography with a specialization in geographic information science. He lives in Switzerland in a small Romance-speaking mountain village where he loves crabbing around the mountains to enjoy the feeling of freedom it gives him. He is a very communicative person. He fluently speaks Italian, German, French, English, and Spanish, and loves traveling. And from today, he will learn some Greek. He works as director of OPENGIS.ch, which he founded in 2011. Since 2015, he shared the company ownership with Matthias Kuhn. At OPENGIS.ch LLC, they started for superstar devs and himself develop, train, and consult our client on any aspect related to QGIS. In 2013, he was lucky enough to have a release name after a suggestion he saved from having QGIS2 Hongeberg and giving instead QGIS2 Dufour. If I say okay, sorry about this. Besides my long story with his long story with QGIS as a user and passionate advocate, he has a long story as QGIS service provider where fully committed to its stability, feature richness, and sustainable development. Furthermore, as a consultant, he was lucky enough to be sent now and then to spread the QGIS goodness in less fortunate countries. We do the same from our society. We try to reinforce QGIS in our country too, and we use many of us QGIS. So that's all about Marco. Thank you very much, Marco. You are here with us. Your step is yours. We're waiting for your interesting presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. Kalispera everybody, and that's about all Greek that I can. I'm really sorry, but yeah. Yeah, your introduction covered way much than I expected. So the key point is that I'm a geographer at heart. I did a bachelor and a master in geography, so it has always been my big passion. And out of it, because my other big passion is computer science, I decided to go in the direction of geoinformatics, and that is how I ended up then starting my own company. Because I wanted to be free and decide how to manage my life. Meanwhile, we are 10 people. The profile I sent you is a bit old, I'm sorry, at OpenGIS that cover basically every aspect of QGIS development. If you have any questions even after the presentation, or if you're interested in seeing what I discuss on social medias, my surname is not the easiest one to spell, but it's really easy to get the exact same handle in every single platform. So Embernazoki is always me. It's on GitHub, it's on Twitter, it's on basically everywhere. Nobody's has to spell that name often. So I guess that's why they don't use my name for handles, but it's really handy because you'll find me easily once you know how to write my name. And also, if you need my email, marco@opengis.ch is the way to go. You already mentioned about OpenGIS, what we do. We are all across Switzerland. Switzerland is a super tiny place, but we are very well distributed, and we do basically core development. We have 5 core developers in the company of QGIS itself. So we're one of the probably 3 most active companies behind QGIS. We do QGIS plugins. We do obviously QField, which I'm going to explain to you. That was my I started the project back in 2011 as an internship at Google, a sponsored internship at Google. That's how QField was started. And then we work a lot with PostGIS and geodata infrastructure. Yeah, that's the original, the first group of the companies, the first people, the first employees, but now we are a much bigger team. Beside OpenGIS, I am the chair of QGIS.org. QGIS.org is the association that covers basically function as an umbrella for developments around QGIS, and it is the umbrella for all the user groups. We heard we have QGIS Cyprus, which is present tonight as well. So, and there are, if I'm not wrong, currently 28 country groups. I didn't check, but I think there is no Greece country group yet. So I'm not sure though. I don't have the list in mind completely. But basically the user groups are then the groups in the country that are kind of pushing QGIS further, and QGIS.org is more the umbrella that helps them, giving all the steering the project and everything. Yes. Now let's move to what all of you came up for. First of all, let's talk about QField. As I mentioned, QField has a long story. QField was started in 2011 as a straight port of QGIS for Android. So I took 3 months of internship at Google, and I spent it in my room typing on the computer in coding and trying to get QGIS to run on an Android device. And that was the first step. Obviously, it was not very user-friendly because QGIS is meant for the desktop. But my idea in the back of my head was always that eventually we will take away the user interface, keep everything behind it, and replace the user interface. And 2-3 years, well, maybe 3 years later, with Matthias, we started doing exactly that, and we renamed what was called QGIS for Android. We renamed it to QField and started building the nice interface that we will see today. And that is a bit of the background. Now, why QField at all? What is it for? Why do we need it? Well, because most of the time, and all of you being surveyor or being connected to geodata know that data is outside the office. Most of the time, we do have to go out, or we do have to rely on people that go out to actually get us data to work with. Sometimes we do have, obviously, telemetry from satellite or sensors, but very often data require people on the field. And that's why we wanted to build something that is useful, easy, and straightforward to use in the field. We do not want to bother people that are already outside in the rain, in the wind. Okay, you're in Greece, so the weather is a bit better than in Switzerland, but when you are going out and digitizing data in November in Switzerland, and it's -5, and it's rainy, and it's foggy, you really want to have your people to be as efficient as possible so that they can come back as soon as they can. So what it is, it's QField is the mobile collection data app for QGIS. So if you're working with QGIS and you are collecting data, QField is the best thing that you can try out. It's an amazing tool that gives you a lot of possibility. In this presentation, I'm going to show you most of the things that QField can. I cannot show everything because if not, we'll be here for much longer. And I'll try to highlight the coolest things that we can do. First of all, how did we build it? Well, as I mentioned, we wanted to be efficient, and that is why we stick to a very, very minimalistic user interface. When we are adding a button, we actually have big sessions discussing if this button has the right to enter QField, if it has the right to exist, because we do not want to clutter the interface. And that is why we ended up, this is what you're seeing in the background is actually the full user interface when you're navigating your data. It has obviously beautiful cartography. You know QGIS, and you know that QGIS can create amazing maps. So QField has the very same cartography rendering, because QField in the background has a full QGIS instance running. So you do get the same beautiful maps that you created in QGIS, you get them on your field as well. And obviously, as I said before, it is super powerful. It's not because we do not put buttons there by default that we don't have anything, but the buttons appear when they're needed. So if you need to edit a polygon, you will get the buttons that are needed for that. But as soon as you're done editing, they will disappear because they're cluttering the interface. So the interface will change depending on what you are doing. And finally, we obviously created things that allowed to be interacting efficiently with the tool. So multi-selection to perform the same action on multiple objects at the same time, quick ways to delete things, or you can set checkbox that remember values when you're digitizing multiple objects at the same in a sequence sort of thing. So really, we look at efficient interaction a lot. Integration that we have, obviously, pictures is the first thing that come to mind. When you're out in the field, you want to be able to take a picture of the object that you're interested in. All the imagery that you will see during this presentation are based on our demo project, which is about beehives. We do like honey a lot. So we built all our demo around it. Integrations as image, obviously GPS, and we keep on building in more and more. For example, now we're building NMEA support, so we'll be able to have also other information coming from external receivers. It runs on professional hardware. it's not like your play tool thingy. It's a serious app that is meant for serious business. We test it on hardware like Trimble. We work together with GNSS hardware producer like MLead. So we actually are testing not only on your normal Android phone, on your Samsung or whatever, but we do go out and have partnership with big hardware companies that allow us to have QField to be tested on their hardware, and we can get to sub-centimeter precision, for instance. Obviously not with this device alone, but if you get the proper antenna to it, you're good. And the second part of the presentation that I'll do later, QFieldCloud, because we want to make it even more simple for you to synchronize your data back to the office. So how to work with QField? Well, there are two things that actually happen when you're setting up a project for QField. We kind of separate two personas. We do have a project manager, kind of a GIS person, and then we have a surveyor on the field. Obviously, it can be that it is the same person doing both, but it can also be that there is one person doing the GIS part and then 20 surveyors on the team. But what we do is that the GIS person will comfortably prepare all the work on QGIS as he knows it. He will set up the layers, cartography and everything, and distribute that to the surveyors on the field. And here is where in future QFieldCloud will come into play even more. And then the people on the field just interact with QField and give back the data. So we do have these two different positions when you're working with QField. Synchronization, as I said, currently there is a plugin called QField Sync, which will allow you to import, export data, synchronize everything up and down. But it still require a little bit of work. What's going to happen beginning of next year is that with QFieldCloud, you basically will have seamless synchronization where you just click a button, synchronize, and all your data gets sent to your centralized server, and the office gets all the data as wish. So really, there's going to be, to me, I think, even more a game changer. What is in QField? What can you do with it? Super powerful feature forms. I can show you a couple of examples. For example, here we see some range sliders for values, drop downs. We see automatic constraints check. So you, for example, here we say we need to have at least 2 letters for the beekeeper name, and then in the yearly harvest, you saw it's a numeric value, so only the numeric keyboard pops up. Then, as next, we have conditional visibility. We can show or hide things based on other fields. For example, here we see that if something is not infected, we are not asking with what are they infected, but as soon as we toggle it as infected, we will see a drop down that asks for the kind of disease. And here we can have plenty of things appearing based on other values. Then camera and some special widgets. Camera, I guess, is no surprise for anybody how it works. It's basically you can take a picture either from your camera. Here when we were recording, for some reason it moved to vertical mode instead of horizontal, but the picture you'll see it's all correct. And then you see another widget where we can link a PDF. So we can add a lot of things. Pictures can be added also from an external application, so from your gallery. So it's really very working very well. Then The next feature, some super advanced tools that we can build. We can have graphs and HTML widgets built into your forms. You need to build them yourself, but then you can use the dynamic data. So the bars that you saw before, those are generated from your data. That's not a bar that it's so this chart that we see right now coming up is not a static chart. It's not an image. It is really created by the data. And here we can have information retrieved from the web and added to a widget. You could get interactive help on what type of bees you have. So really, really powerful there. Then multiple attribute editing. As I mentioned before, we do want people to be efficient, and that's why we allow them to edit multiple things at one time. We can select some features by long pressing. So if you're using QField, always try to long press things, magics will happen. Here you see we can select, and then we can add more features, and then we can go to the multi-edit button and edit whatever values we want. For example, here we're gonna my colleague Lucy is taking over a lot of beehives, and now we'll see that automatically all the beehives have been changed to Lucy. So very, very handy when you need to change a lot of things in batch mode. Relation integration. If you have child-parent relationship, for example, the beehives and the field where they feed on, you see that we can say we have a table about the fields, and we can say how much the bees go there and how much go to another field, and we can set the percentage. So we can do very complex end-to-end relations very easily. We can add parents from the child, we can add child from the parents, so we can see all the beehives that feed on a certain field, or we can see all the fields where a beehive feeds on. So very, very powerful feature here. Then the next thing that I like to show, map themes. So how are we showing data actually? So you probably know map themes if you're using QGIS. If you're not using map themes yet, have a look into it. It's basically a preset of styling options. So you set up, you see here, for example, we can visualize the data as an heat map, or we can visualize what species, and then in QField we can quickly change that just via the drop down, and the map renders differently. QField as a search, which can search for attributes content and for coordinates. We can see here we are searching into the attributes list, and once we click on the result, we'll get taken to the point, or if we click on the table icon on the right, we'll get taken directly to the attribute form. Then for the coordinates, if you know a certain coordinates you want to go to, you can just type it in and it will take you to the coordinates. Very handy when you need to go to a precise spot. We do have built a measuring tool. Sometimes you are in the field and you need to quickly measure things. So you can go into a measuring tool and you'll get coordinates, obviously. Oh, sorry, my fault. Coordinates. You get segment lengths, you get total length, and as soon as you have more than 2 points, you get an area. So it's really handy to quickly sorry, to quickly see what kind of sizes we are looking at. Obviously, digitizing is, so we've seen mainly attributes now. Digitizing geometries is a very important part, and that is why we have been spending a lot of time in making the digitizing mode as good as possible and very powerful. So, for example, one of the nicest and latest features that we added is that you can split polygons and you can merge polygons. So, for example, you have a polygon, you need to separate it, and then you realize, oh no, I did a mistake. Well, you can just remerge it again. Same things with the vertex tool. You see here, the user interface getting a little bit more complex now, but that's because we are doing some more complex actions. We are actually trying to move or to add or to remove vertices. When we move them, we do have snapping. You see when the cursor gets bigger is because it has snap. So it's really, really advanced code behind it, and works really well. But still, we try to remove all the buttons as soon as possible when they are not needed. Also here, building island, or better say rings in a polygon, so we can do that. It's really, I mean, I don't think there is other apps that allow you to do that amount of geometric editing as we are allowing in QField. The next point, when you are working on, yeah, as I mentioned before, with snapping, when we are editing vertices, you see that we can very easily snap to existing features, and that's super handy because it means that it will not create topological errors between different features. Then GPS and tracking, obviously very important features. You can say what time interval you want to track on, which layer you want to track on, or what distance you want to track on, and then you need to go for a walk. Get out of your house and then walk around, and QField will happily keep on digitizing what you are doing at a certain interval, at the interval of time that you set up, and you will have your track ready. And as soon as you finish tracking, you'll be asked for the attributes to that track, which we'll see in a second. Crossing the road and stopping tracking. Printing PDFs. We can create PDFs on the fly, meaning that if you create a nice print layout and you go out on the field, your surveyor can actually send you back the PDF of the data that they've been working on that day. They just select the area they want to print in the PDF, and then it will come out on the template that you've been preparing. See here, we can have different teams, we can have multiple maps. They will always have the same extent, and you can add images and so on. An unreleased feature yet, this has not been published yet, but we have built freehand drawing. I'm gonna quickly show you. The video is not as professional as the other one because we just did it quickly for the presentation, but you see that with a stylus, we can actually just hand draw polygons, lines, and points on the device. That's super handy. It's very quick. If you don't need precision on the data, but you need to be fast and you're maybe discussing something with somebody, just take your tablet there, quickly draw it out, and you have the good thing happening. And if you turn on topological editing, it will actually make sure that you don't have any topological error. So if you saw during the drawing, the green field got cut out because it would have been a topological error. We'll see it again now. You see that it actually cuts out everything. So super powerful as well. This will come in the next release, which is probably going to be in, well, I'm not going to say a date yet, but I think maybe before Christmas or so. I mentioned QField Cloud. I will explain in a second what it is. But the idea is basically synchronizing things for you. The other big news is that we actually do have QField running on iOS as of last Tuesday. So very big, very new thing. Today, I actually got a video from my collaborator that is working on this. We actually have the demo project running on iOS as well. So it's coming. It's coming really soon as well for all the iOS people out there. Then who is using QField? Well, plenty of people. We have about 300,000 downloads. This is by far the most downloaded GIS app out there. Much more than other proprietary apps, and with much better rating as well. So go out, try it if you haven't tried it yet. It is rock solid. It works. It has been tried and tested. It's been used everywhere, and we're getting a lot of good feedback. You can go and read out on the Play Store ratings. We are getting really happy people out there. The current version is called 1.7.6 is the current version. Rockies, we always call releases by mountain. So this time is the Rocky Mountains. We might have to go for Mount Olympus or something like that eventually. But the next one will be something with S. So don't know yet. Obviously, it's an open source project. We are very happy on any kind of support we get, be it with translations, be it with bug reporting, feature requests, and obviously sponsoring. If you want to have something in QField, obviously you can hope that it gets done because we or somebody else find it interesting, or you can help getting it done by financing the development. We do very often try when we have multiple people that want a certain feature and which is maybe too expensive for everybody, we try to mutualize effort because we want QField to grow. That's our ultimate goal. We don't care about asking 3 persons the same amount of money for the same feature. We want to get 3 new features in QField. And also, if you think QField is too generic for you, we can customize this to build up your own custom app. So let's go to the shorter QField Cloud part. QField Cloud is basically it's a service that we are building. So it's a software as a service. It's something you can subscribe to, and what it does is basically synchronize your data from QField to a server. Let's say It can be your server, it can be our server. I'm going to explain more in detail soon. The architecture is that we are running this cloud instance, this cloud service, and you are running your own QGIS and your own QField. And QFieldCloud takes care of, QFieldCloud takes care of making the data go from QGIS to all your team colleagues on the field. It works online and offline. We could already do that now, both, but we had to decide beforehand. Are we going to work online or are we going to work offline? What we can do now with QFieldCloud is not care. We just go, get the data, go out and work. If we lose connectivity, we can keep on working because we enter the offline mode. And as soon as we get connection again, we can click on the synchronize button and it will synchronize your data. The data storage can be on our service that we build up, or it can be in your own infrastructure. We know that there are companies that do not want to rely on external infrastructure. They might not be allowed by law or by internal policies. That is why we can roll out QFieldCloud on private infrastructures as well. Also, even if you are using our infrastructure, you can have the data synchronized to your own database. So what's happening is that QField will synchronize with QFieldCloud, and then QFieldCloud will synchronize to your own database. So if you already have a database in your infrastructure, but you don't want to care about setting up a cloud instance for synchronizing things, you just tell QFieldCloud, look, this is the database I want the data finally to come to. And QFieldCloud will take care of all the connection to the multiple QField instances, manage the difference, the differentials and everything. And then it will synchronize that to your own database. And then from your Acme Corporation database, you can connect your QGISs and work on it. As I said before, it can be the whole thing in our cloud or in your cloud. Why is it interesting? Because it allows you to manage your team. Currently, it's really painful if you have 20 people on the field to get the data back. QFieldCloud was built for team management. So you do have users, you have organizations, you have project collaborators, you have very granular permissions management. So you can say, well, George is going to be only able to digitize on this project, but he can administrating another project, and so on and so on. The version that we will offer as a service in the one that you can subscribe to, the QField.cloud, is on secure and sustainable hosting based in Switzerland, all based on renewable energy servers, all in the Alps. So we get a lot of water, a lot of hydroelectric energy in Switzerland. We are very lucky, and we took a partnership with a hoster that really cares about that aspect as well. QFieldCloud is open source. We haven't released it yet because we are still working very heavily on it, but it will be released. So you can actually take it and make your own QFieldCloud, your own private or company intern. The only thing that we will be asking is that you do not make a concurrence product to QField.cloud. We put a lot of effort in it. Basically, what you can do is for your own company, internal usage, whatever you want, you do it. If you need help, we help you roll it out for you, no problem. But you're not allowed to set up a public-facing service where you're actually selling something that is really concurrent to the service. That is because we want QFieldCloud to grow. And the more it grows, the more the open source version, obviously, I mean the open source version, the more QField Cloud grows, the more the code for everybody is better. So the idea is that we invest a lot, but actually everybody's getting out of it, a lot of it. The subscriptions will be, there will be a community limited edition with some data hosting, with public and private projects. That's about, you can do whatever you want with it. Then on the Pro subscription, you'll have more storage and unlimited synchronizations to your own infrastructure. And on the team version, which is what we think the most interesting one, you basically get everything like in the Pro, plus you have collaboration on private projects, team management, so you can say who is allowed to work on which project. And the very interesting thing is that we're actually billing only active users. So if your company has 20 people, you don't have to think, okay, I'll just take 2 licenses, two users, and then rotate them. On Monday he goes out, on Tuesday he goes out. You can say I take 20 people, and if they go out, then they get charged for that month. If they don't use that, we don't charge anything. So we want to have people easily working. We know that people get really creative when you put difficulty against them. That's why we try to make things as simple as possible so that everybody can just pay basically if they need the service. What is the schedule? Well, internal alpha is now, it's running. We're testing it hard currently. Next week, we're gonna start the alpha testing with users, with selected users that have been committed to QField for a long time, that have been good reporting bugs a lot, that have shown early interest in QField Cloud. So we are doing that the whole December and January. And then the plan is to have a first public beta in February. What also will be available at the launch of the public beta is the pricing model. And then the release, hopefully 2 months later, where we can go on a production. If you want to stay informed, QField.cloud is the website to go to. You can subscribe there to the newsletter. You'll get all the information about QField.cloud. What are we looking at in the future? Well, obviously a WebGIS. We want you to be able to click a button and publish your project on a WebGIS. Processing algorithms, we have already that, it's already thought out, the whole thing, that basically based on some triggers, for example, when you when QField Cloud receives new data, you can run a QGIS processing algorithm on the data that came in. You can transform your data before they get into the database. So a really cool feature that. And plenty of other ideas, that come from requirements from users, custom developments that we can do on your own instance. Take-home messages, it's coming very soon. It's open source. So even if you're just taking, even if you're taking the paying service that we offer, you know what code is running behind. If you're deciding that you want to run your own infrastructure, well, you get the code, you'll see what it does, and you can do with it whatever you want. And we can, it does integrate with your infrastructure. Thanks a lot. And I'm open for all questions that you want.
Thank you very much, Marco. And from us and from our society and from me, thank you very much. Everything, it was very interesting, your presentation. Of course, the QField Cloud, the QGIS Cloud, it's interesting to see how it will work at future and help us.